Good evening, everybody, and welcome into another all-new edition of the Milford Informer. I am your host, Tim Coet. Well, it was another big week for Milford basketball in the MIAA tournament. We were out on the road continuing to provide coverage of both the Scarlet Hawks boys and girls basketball teams. We will have a full playoff update for you coming up in a little bit, but first let's take a look at everything we have coming up in tonight's Top Stories Rundown. Tonight, we'll give you the final vote totals for Milford's latest special town election on recreational marijuana, and we'll also provide you with details related to Milford's upcoming spring election. Also tonight, we'll provide a sneak peek at the upcoming Milford High School Theater Workshop presentation of the Rodgers and Hammerstein classic Cinderella. And later in sports, we will provide the latest playoff update on both the Milford girls and boys basketball teams. This past Tuesday, Milford voters once again made their way to the polls for a vote on the future of recreational marijuana businesses within the town. Last fall, residents voted in favor of banning all marijuana establishments. However, when the measure came before town meeting, the language was softened to allow for Milford's two existing marijuana facilities, Sierra Naturals and Pro Verde Laboratories, to expand their marijuana-based operations into the recreational market. While the matter appeared to be settled after last fall's town meeting, the Massachusetts Attorney General's office urged the town to put the final town meeting version of the proposal back out for a town-wide vote before the decision became official. This last vote stirred up much less attention and controversy than the vote that took place last September 19th. After nearly 30% of Milford voters took part in the first recreational marijuana vote, this time around just 14.4% of registered voters cast their ballots. In the end, residents voted in favor of the ban with 1,921 yes votes to just 708 no votes. Staying with Milford election news, Milford's annual spring election is just around the corner. Once again, residents will see contested races for seats on two of the town's most prominent boards. For Board of Selectmen, current Chair Will Kincaid is seeking re-election as he wraps up his first term. He will be challenged on the April 3rd ballot by former building commissioner and current school committee member John Erickson. Mr. Erickson, you will recall, suffered a narrow defeat as he ran against Bill Buckley for a spot on the Board of Selectmen last spring. Mr. Erickson stepped down from his position as building commissioner a short time after last spring's election, and he also is not seeking re-election to the school committee as his term is set to expire. As for Milford School Committee, voters will be looking to fill 3 vacant seats, with Mike Walsh and Scott Harrison joining John Erickson in the decision not to seek re-election. There are currently 7 candidates vying for those 3 open seats. Those candidates are Megan Hornberger, Sarah Howe, Laura Njemi, Tariq Miranda, Michael Visconti, Glenn Weech, and Christopher Wilson. Now, there are a series of community forums that will be held over the next several weeks leading up to election night to give residents a chance to make an informed decision when heading to the polls on April 3rd. We will provide a recap of each of those candidate forums here on the Milford Informer in the coming weeks. Moving on to our next top story, the Milford High School Theater Workshop is continuing to get ready for their annual spring musical production. This current spring musical production is a classical piece of musical theater. To find out more about the upcoming show, Milford TV members Logan Keefe and Caitlin Mobilia made their way over to a recent rehearsal to talk to the cast and crew.
Hi, this is Logan Keefe. We're here with Miss Gerard, the director of Cinderella. How are you?
Oh, I'm very good, Logan. Thank you so much for being here. And so we're doing Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, the classic fairy tale that everyone's familiar with the beautiful score by Rodgers and Hammerstein, which, is a classic some people might remember from seeing on TV in their childhood. You'll definitely see all the usual magic and romance of the classic tale in our version of the story. In
your own words, tell us why you think people should come see this show.
Well, I'm in it, and I'm really handsome, so that'd be an excellent reason to come see the show. But in all actuality, we've just worked so hard, and also it's Cinderella, so it's like a really good show anyways. It's well known, so people know the show. It's not like Pippin, no one's ever heard of it, or Guys and Dolls even. We've all put a lot of work into it, and it's a really nice payoff when we have like a full audience to perform to, because without an audience, like we just kind of did this for nothing.
with me now is Ayla Tabak. She is the fairy godmother. Ayla, what's your favorite part about being in this show?
I like that the songs that I sing are very different from what I usually sing. It's really fun to kind of play a sassy character.
That's awesome. And for your last question, what's your favorite song?
My favorite song would probably be Impossible. It's very innovative and it's really fun to sing. It grew on me a lot, this process.
Tell us about the production of Cinderella and how it feels to be a part of this cast.
Gosh, it feels amazing. I've been in here since my freshman year when I came from Texas, so I've kind of been back and forth, but it's, everyone's very accepting. Everyone's a huge family here. It's amazing. I think everybody here kind of feels the same way as me in the sense of that, coming along, we're all doing our part, so it's going really well.
That's awesome. What is it like working with Miss Gerard and working with her as a director?
I love her. She was my English teacher, so we go way back to, sophomore year, but she's great. I love her. She's awesome. She's very flexible. We're getting everything done. We're doing a good job.
So tell us what it's like being stage manager for these shows.
It's stressful. It's an experience on its own. You have to be in charge of people that are close to the age, and it's quite a responsibility being in charge of kids and having to be more mature and show them what's right and what's wrong and how to be in crew and how crew runs.
So you can come and see Cinderella at MHS March 16th, 17th, and 18th. On the 16th and 17th, the show starts at 7 p.m. and on Sunday, it starts at 2 p.m.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Be there, be square.
When we left off last week, the Milford girls basketball team had secured a resounding victory in the opening round of the MIAA tournament. That victory set up the Lady Hawks against the #1 seed in the D2 Central bracket, the Groton Dunstable Lady Crusaders. The teams were originally slated to play last Friday, but the first of 2 nor'easters we've experienced in the last week pushed the game to Saturday afternoon. Rob O'Keefe and Malcolm Zale were able to make the trip up to North Middlesex Regional High School, which was the site for this quarterfinal action. After blowing out Burncoat in round 1 of the playoffs, the Lady Hawks were feeling supremely confident that they could hang with the top-seeded Groton Dunstable as the two teams came together in the D2 Central quarterfinals. Milford knew they needed to do their best to match the Crusader defense, which came into the game allowing just 33.6 points per game. Early on, the Lady Hawks were able to do just that, forcing turnovers on Groton Dunstable's first 2 possessions, but Milford was unable to turn their opportunity into points. It would be a low-scoring start to the night before Abby Eisenklam would put one in from 3-point range to give the top seed a 5-point advantage. The Crusaders would end up making it a 7-0 run to start the night before a free throw from Emily Pierre-Gustavo would finally get Milford on the board. Milford would manage just 3 single free throws over the opening 8 minutes as Groton Dunstable would seize a 12-3 lead. While Milford's offense continued to struggle, their defense would attempt to keep the game close. Here with Crusader star Rachel Romick streaking toward the basket, Jill Valenzola emphatically rejects the shot, bringing the Milford bench to life. Finally, after Groton Dunstable held Milford without a field goal for the first 12 minutes of the game, the Lady Hawks would use some good passing to give Jess Tomaso a chance underneath the basket, and the shot would bounce through. With the deficit all the way up to 16 points, it was Valenzola providing a bit of a spark on offense this time, coming through with a nice turnaround jumper. With Milford's offense starting to show some signs of life, 2 of the team's senior captains would look to deliver the team into the locker room with momentum on their side.
Hawks still not out of this. They just need to find some offense. Pierre Gustavo sets up for 3. She hits it. Nothing but net. 10 seconds left for Kate. Can she do something here? She's got to bring it up quick. 6 seconds. 3 seconds. Got to shoot it. 1 second. Oh, she hits it. At the buzzer, 27-15. That's going to be a big lift for the Hawks going into the locker room.
While Milford was hoping the conclusion of the first half was a sign of things to come, Groton Dunstable refused to let Milford establish a consistent rhythm on offense. Meanwhile, the Crusaders would use a combination of strong inside play and sharp shooting from long range to build up their lead to an even 20 points just 3.5 minutes into the third quarter. Later on in the quarter, Milford would try to jumpstart their transition offense. First, it's Kate Irwin pushing the long pass ahead to Julie Rabinowitz, who makes one defender miss before sinking the layup. Then it's Kate all alone traveling the length of the floor before attacking the basket, getting the shot and the foul to cut the deficit down to 13. On the opening possession of the fourth quarter now, we see Jillian Valenzola, who battled through an ankle injury through much of the second half, call for the ball and force her way to the rim to again cut the Crusader lead to 13. But just as they'd done all afternoon long, Groton Dunstable would come up with a quick response as the sophomore Nicole Tomorrow knocks down the three just seconds later. From there, Groton Dunstable would maintain control of the game. Here it's Hannah Wynn draining another outside shot to push her team's lead back over 20 points. After giving it all they had through the season and throughout this game, Milford's stellar class of seniors would ultimately ride out the final minutes on the bench. The Lady Hawks would see their season come to an end at the hands of the top-seeded Crusaders, losing by a final score of 62-38. It was a difficult way to see the season come to an end for the girls' basketball team. Still, the team has a lot to be proud of, including a 12-win regular season and the first playoff victory for the girls' basketball program in 17 years. So congratulations to the Lady Hawks on a job well done. As for the boys' basketball team, they were ready to put their 7-game winning streak to the test this past Tuesday as they traveled up to Worcester Polytechnic Institute for the D2 Central semifinals. The boys matched up against a familiar playoff opponent in Marlborough. Let's show you how things went down between the number 5-seeded Hawks and the number 1-seeded Panthers.
Here from the WPI gym, getting set to get this game underway as the Milford Scarlet Hawks take on the Marlborough Panthers. A trip to the D2 Central Finals on the line. Each side going empty on their first possessions up the floor. Here's Doherty now. He's able to burrow his way past Caden Kelly. And they'll count the bucket and the foul. White now getting pestered from outside. Takes a couple of steps inside the arc, drains the two. Now the stage a little bit brighter here at WPI. Tomorrow, the quick release from three. The early shot falls for Zach Tomorrow, the senior captain, and that gives Milford their first lead of the game at 5-2 with 5:37 to go in the opening quarter. And now Milford with some suffocating defense right up against the end line, and that will send the ball right back into the Scarlet Hawks' favor. Pass looped into White. Now Fraioli with a little bit more real estate to work with inside is able to cut his way to the basket. Milford all of a sudden on a 9-2 run. Marlborough now thinking about a deep three. Short dribbles inside, now leaves it back out for Jordan Oliveira. And Oliveira knocks down the first Marlborough three of the night, and that evens the score at 11. So Milford, after taking a 9-2 lead, has given it back. Marlborough able to turn things around and helped out by the two fouls called on both Caden Kelly and Andrew Fraioli. That is a huge storyline to monitor. Almost losing it a couple of times. Now the feed into the corner. Counted from three. That's Alex Santos with consecutive buckets. Doherty's been relatively quiet in terms of points. But puts a stop to that with his second shot here in the second quarter. Into the corner for Doherty. Picks up a head of steam. Drives inside. And eventually able to tip it in. White was nearly able to jar the ball free. Now the up and under move, no good for Di Gregorio. Back outside for Short at the buzzer. And count it for three for Kevin Short, just sneaking that one in before time expired. Kevin Short, who had just 1 point to that point in the half, one of the top scorers for the Panthers, and he's able to deliver Marlborough into the locker room with a 34-20 lead. Milford now with that lead growing, that deficit I should say, growing to 17. Cosquet with a sorely needed bucket. This time Milford able to get the block. Doherty able to get it back, gets a second rebound. Cannot give Doherty that many opportunities underneath the rim, but Fraioli has not quite looked the same here tonight. Able to get a nice block there. The ball deflects right to Cosquet. Has just short to beat as he goes to the rack, but Doherty comes in from behind and gets the block. Off by a wide margin now. Doherty, he stuffs it in with authority. That gets the Marlboro fans on their feet as the lead now passes 20 points for the Panthers. Cosquet forcing that ball to come loose. Marlboro recovers. Now Oliveira finds Doherty, who is all alone and makes Milford pay. Cannot lose number 33 on the floor at any time. Second slam dunk of the night for Doherty. The boys will fall here tonight at WPI, but those losses should not overshadow the tremendous work that we saw on the basketball court this entire season long. And now we see the appreciation from the Milford fans, all of the student section, the fans and community members who came out to see this playoff game here tonight, continuing to show their appreciation for the seniors. As now that will do it. 67-41, Marlboro overwhelms the Milford Scarlet Hawks here tonight. Marlboro moves on to the D2 Central Finals to face off against Shepherd Hill. And the 2017-18 season comes to a disappointing end for the Milford Scarlet Hawks.
Milford raced out to a very strong start, but ultimately the talent of the Panthers, led by Notre Dame commit Chris Doherty, was just too much for Milford to handle. So that game officially brought our sports coverage for the 2017-18 winter season to a close. As long as we don't see too many more nor'easters in the forecast over the next several weeks, we will be kicking off our coverage of the spring sports season in less than a month. We look forward to seeing the Scarlet Hawks baseball team under the direction of their new head coach Alex Dion, and of course we will also bring you coverage of the defending D1 state champion Milford softball team. While you wait for spring coverage to begin, you can relive all of our sports coverage from this past winter season, as well as any of our previous game coverage by heading over to our YouTube page, My Milford TV. And now let's take a look at this week's upcoming events. Coming up on Wednesday, the Citizens for Milford will be sponsoring a candidates forum. For the 5th consecutive year, the CFM will give residents a chance to meet and interact with candidates involved in the contested races on Milford's April 3rd town ballot. The Candidates Forum is being held on Wednesday, March 14th, over at St. Mary's Parish Hall. There will be a meet and greet with candidates taking place from 6:30 to 7 p.m., with the forum beginning at 7 p.m. For more information, or if you're unable to attend the forum and would like to submit a question, you can send an email to citizensformilford@gmail.com. And coming up on March 18th, our friends over at the Crossroads Clubhouse will be holding their annual St. Patrick's Day Pancake Breakfast. The Pancake Breakfast is Crossroads' biggest fundraiser of the year and gives the public an opportunity to enjoy a delicious meal while helping a worthwhile project. This year's breakfast is particularly important as Crossroads looks to raise money for a new building. The Pancake Breakfast is taking place on Sunday, March 18th at the Crossroads Clubhouse, located at 11 William Street in Hopedale, from 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. For more information on the event, please contact Lauren Baxter or Erlene DeYoung at 508-473-4715. Remember to check back with us in the coming weeks for all of the latest information on the upcoming town election. And you can also find interviews with the candidates running for office on several of our member-produced programs, including That Milford Show and 30 Minutes with the Town Crier. We hope to have you back with us again next Friday night. Until then, from all of us here at Milford TV, this is Tim Coette saying have a great week. So long, everybody.